Hey, Tank Tops and Sweaters friends, it's Kelly and Yvette, and it is unbelievably almost the end of March. So we are jumping on today to talk to you about everything we've been talking about in March. So our theme has been nurturing your nest, and we had two really great journal prompts. Um, the first one was about your space. So how are you organizing your physical space to harmonize your life? And I love this because I think oftentimes um, we think of making things like look pretty, but is it functioning? I kind of took it as like, are we functioning right too? So what did you think about this one, Yvette?
No, I think that's a really, really great perspective. I went back to our home edit books that we had reviewed, and I found so much inspiration from that. So, for me, I think if it's organized, a space is organized in a way that's functional for me, then that brings me so much peace and
Hmm.
harmony, and just having something that works for you takes the frustration out, takes the, oh my gosh, I think you and I are proponents of, like, we're constantly having to clean our desks or
Yeah.
constantly get back to organizing and, like, I gotta get this cleaned. But when you have a system, because home ed, it's all about the systems. When you have a system that's working for you, it does bring that harmony. It does bring that peace. It does
Mhm.
take the frustration out. And then you're not constantly thinking like, oh my gosh, I have to get this done.
Yeah.
It's just taking that piece off of your plate. And so then you can concentrate on other things that, you feel are more important or more worth your time, if that makes
Or
sense.
more fun. Yeah.
More fun. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah, I have a thing about my kitchen counter being cluttered because it creates, like, I feel like that creates anxiety for me.
yeah,
So trying to minimize the clutter so that my anxiety kind of stays under control, especially like when you walk in the back door and you see my kitchen counter, I'm like, oh. So I had to create some systems. Like I put a bench by the back door with baskets that bags, keys, everything can get thrown in so it doesn't end up on the counter. And
mhm,
then we've created, and it's taken a lot of years to create this habit of getting the mail and sorting it as it comes, throwing the trash away, putting the bills in the right place. And, if
I
it's
love
something
it.
that I need to mark on my calendar, I go bring it to my desk. So it's right in front of my computer or something like that. But I think it's like you said, it's the systems, it's creating the systems that then take that piece off of our plate and create that harmonized space. So it's not every day cleaning everything up, you know?
Mhm.
It becomes a little bit more peaceful when there's a place for things to go so that they don't get left and have to be
Yes. And I think it's
in the
not
house.
like it doesn't have to be this perfect visual,
Right.
magazine ready space. It's just a system that is going to work
Mhm.
for you. And I feel
Yes.
like that just is the harmony in itself, for sure. So
Yeah, I agree.
our second journal prompt was, what steps do you take to nurture positive relationships? So this is one that we just put out this last week, but oh my gosh, this is one that you have to
Yeah.
really sit down and kind of think about for a while, because there's lots of positive relationships, but then you have the negative ones too. So how do you sort of weed out the negative and focus on the positive and nurture that positive relationship? And I think for me, I reflected more on myself and how am I nurturing the positive relationship that I have with myself, because I think that's where we need to start first
Mhm.
before we can start then reflecting and going into our outward positive relationships with others. Um,
Mhm.
and that's not always easy
It's
because
not.
you have to really dig deep for the positive relationship with yourself sometimes.
Mhm.
And find that harmony, find that thing that works for you. And it goes back to what we've said so many time and time again of nurturing ourselves and self-care is so important because we have to have that recharging energy to be able to give back or give out to the ones that we love. Um, and that is where we have to nurture, is just that point in ourselves. So, yeah, it was hard, but I also feel
That's
like
good. I love
setting those boundaries for yourself and taking
it.
time for yourself to have recharging moments. All those little habits that we do for ourselves add up so greatly and so big in helping us then be able to give more to others.
I love that. I love that you took it back to like exactly what we've been talking about, that it's nurturing our relationship with ourselves. Cause I kind of looked at it as how am I nurturing the relationships in my life? And I am at a stage where, I have adult children and those can be kind of hard sometimes. And
Mhm.
um, I think I've been trying to come at my relationships in a more positive way. Um, More so of like, hey, I'm checking in and I just want to see how you're doing and thinking about you. Instead of you haven't returned my call. Are you mad at me? Do you know what I mean? So like I think I've been trying to like really flip it around and go, how am I creating the positive in this relationship? And how can I do better in bringing that positive in the relationship instead of always going to the negative or the you didn't call me back because you're mad at me or you didn't call, my kids are busy, they've got lives of their own, they've got things going on. And so changing my own mindset to create that to have that positive interaction instead of a negative one. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I love that because it is very much about the mindset, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. But
And
you were
I think
able
it's
to.
retraining your brain to not
Yeah.
go to that
Mhm.
negative because for so many years, I don't know, it's kind of ingrained in us. And it's really changing that habit, that neural pathway in our brain that always goes to that negative to be able to stop it and say, no, 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 there's another story. There's another path to take.
I don't know why our brains are just naturally wired that way, where we are naturally just drawn to that negative, or the negative just pops into our head. It's like, I don't think people understand it's a conscious decision to choose the positive. It's a conscious decision to change the narrative, to change your mindset. It's
Yeah.
not a natural thing that just pops in your head or that just
And
occurs.
right. The negative sticks way easier than the positive does. It's just we have to have more positive to replace that one negative,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
so it's just time and time again, stopping yourself, giving yourself that moment, that pause that we've talked about before, that
Mhm.
pause between what happens in your reaction and the stimulus and the response, and taking that moment to say, no, I don't have to choose that negative thought. There
Mhm.
are other thoughts. And with anxiety, it's hard because
Oh,
anxiety wants to take over and tell
hugely.
you. So I feel like it takes extra practice when you have anxiety.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's like, I what do they say? It takes like for every one negative thought, it takes like 10 or more positive thoughts before you
Um,
could change it. Well, I think with
right.
anxiety, it's like 50 or more positive thoughts before you can really change it. It's like you have to
Yeah.
try even harder. But again, it's that conscious decision. It's not something
Right.
that just occurs naturally or that just magically pops in your head. It's like making
Yes.
that conscious decision of deciding, okay, I'm going to think positively. I'm going to change this narrative. I'm going to change this mindset. It's work,
Or even just stopping and saying, this isn't the only option, or this isn't the
right?
only thought
Pathway.
process. Like,
Yes.
what else can I come up with? Let me look at it from a different view. Let me take a different stance on it. And I think it's just like that pause to be able to stop and not be sucked down that negative
Mhm.
pathway.
Mhm. which is why it's so important when we're saying like nurturing yourself, nurturing
Hmm.
those positive relationships. You're choosing to do that and you're creating that moment of letting the positive thoughts come in, of letting the harmony of, positive relationships continue for yourself. So, yeah, all these things that I love it because all these things that we talk about all the time, the pausing, the taking a moment for yourself, the
Self-love.
reflection, self love, um,
Yeah.
recharging, all these things just kind of wrap around everything at the same time, which is you and giving you that
Yes.
moment so that you can break free of the negative thoughts, break free of the hold that anxiety and other mental health issues can take upon you. Um, and sometimes I think it feels like you're in a box or you're in a cage or you're in that hole and it's hard to get out. But if you take these little steps, these nurturing little steps, you will start to climb
Mhm.
out. You will start to see so many different pathways and so many different options. That's where we need to be for sure. Well,
Absolutely. I love that. And just taking that step outside the box for sure.
yes. Yeah, taking the step outside the box. Well, thank you for joining us for another fun conversation that with Kelly and I. We love talking about it. We have posted on here a lovely little 6-minute Pilates with Kelly. Soon, I will have a little short bar class coming up for you as well. So check back to this channel if you haven't already. Subscribe, hit that button because more content is coming towards you very soon. And we love sharing this with you. If you have any comments, questions, please let us know. Follow us on Instagram at Tank Tops and Sweaters, as well as tanktopsandsweaters.com because we have some blogs and some other really wonderful things on there for you as well. And we are on TikTok. So go follow us on TikTok. We have some fun journal prompts and movements. And we still have coming up next month 2 more journal prompts and some more conversations. So make sure you subscribe and join us. Until next time, have a great one, everyone.
Bye, guys.